Black tax impacts you and your generations to come in several ways. Number one, it affects your ability to save. So if, for example, you're giving $200 per month towards black tax, you're taking $200 out of your salary per month to give towards black tax. That's $2,400 per annum that is going towards black tax, and therefore this is money that could go towards the much needed emergency fund that most of us do not have. And then number two, it affects your ability to invest. If we stick with the same example, the same $2,400 per annum that one could be giving towards, that one could be giving towards black tax, if we take that amount of money and invest it in a conservative investment that gives you 10% return per annum for about 5 years, if you compound that amount in 5 years' time, that will amount to $3,865. That's a lot of money. Again, that could go towards the much needed emergency fund that most of us are living without, especially during these times of very high inflation. And every time I give this example, somebody always asks me, but you can do both. It's true, you can do both. It's possible for you to have to do both, to have both in your budget. It's possible for you to have an X amount of money that goes towards black tax, and also have an X amount of money that goes black tax, and also have an X amount of money that you invest every single month. Yes, it's possible. But the point here is this: for somebody who has, for this person who is giving $2,400 towards black tax every year, if you compare the person who's giving $2,400 every year towards black tax with somebody who gives zero amount of money towards black tax, then these two people's ability to compound their wealth or to build the generational wealth is going to be worlds apart. This person who's giving zero towards black tax is going to build generational wealth much faster as compared to this person who has this huge burden of giving money towards black tax. And then disadvantage number 3 is that when you have an amount of money that always goes towards black tax, it means that it's harder for you to build generational wealth, because what happens is that you're not only responsible, it's harder for you to build generational wealth because you're not only responsible for yourself and your nuclear family, you're also responsible for your grandparents, for your parents, for your cousins. Some people are even responsible for their in-laws. I've seen situations where people are even responsible for their in-laws, and they even have to contribute towards paying off debt for their in-laws. Yes, as a financial coach, I've seen all these stories where people have to pay debts for their in-laws, for their parents, for their grandparents, and therefore this becomes, as opposed to somebody who's paying zero in black tax, when you compare to this person who is overburdened by black tax, it means it's going to be very hard for them to not only build wealth for themselves, but even to have anything, any amount of money to pass towards their children, and therefore no generational wealth. And so this is one of the things, the fact that you have to first pay debt for your people before you start building your own wealth, before you start building your own emergency fund, before you start investing. This is one of the concepts that leads to generations of scrapping by. I don't know if you've gone to villages or if you've gone to places where generations after generations after generations are just scrapping by. They're just surviving and they're just living in debt. So this is one of the biggest disadvantages of black tax, is that you will always be suffering. You will always just be scrapping by. And then disadvantage number 4 is that it affects your mental health. So for those of us who have to give money towards black tax, our ability to keep those jobs that give us that money that gives us that money that we put towards black tax, our ability to keep your job and properly manage your money, properly stick to a budget and invest every month, is strongly associated with your mental health. So ability to keep a job, properly manage your money and build wealth depends on how good your mental health, or depends on how good your peace of mind is. And so I've interacted with people who their mental health is affected by black tax in several ways. For example, I've met people young professionals who are carrying this guilt on a daily basis that they're not doing enough. So you're stuck in this job that pays you, for example, $600 a month, and you're putting $100 a month towards black tax. But you often feel, and in your heart of hearts that this $100 is the only amount of money that you can afford to put towards black tax, but you find yourself in a situation where every day you feel guilty that you're not doing enough, that this $100 that you're giving toward black tax is not enough. And I often say that guilt is a very unproductive emotion because it doesn't make a difference. It's very unproductive. It's not making a difference. All it's doing is it's giving you terrible mental health, stress day in and day out. I've also come across people who, because of the burden of black tax they have to deal with, they're always anxious. At the end of every month, they're dealing with this level of anxiety because at the end of the day, they have to put X amount of money towards extended family support, and most of the time they can't even afford. And sometimes you even have to take up debt in order for you to support your extended family. And through these because of this anxiety, people actually end up making terrible life decisions, and most of the time it's terrible financial decisions. So you'll find someone who will randomly go take $1 million worth of debt in order for them to support their extended family support, and in that process of taking that debt, they didn't even read the documents by the financial institution in order for them to understand how much interest rate they're paying. Some people will end up with even a lot of credit card debt, just trying to survive and just trying to support their families. And then another the same concept, another disadvantage of black tax is more debt. I have come across I have interacted with people who have taken up debt to support their extended families, and and it gets worse in that I've come across people who have been guilt tripped, mostly by their mothers. Mostly by their moms, because moms have this advantage in that they know that we love them. They know that we love them, and therefore they use the fact that we love them and we have this very soft spot for them to guilt trip us to take loans on their behalf. And most of the time, 99% of the time, they do not contribute towards paying off that debt. And so you end up you already struggling financially, but you end up finding yourself in even more debt just trying to support your extended family. And I've even come across situations where people will be told to take up debt on behalf of family members just for those family members to keep up appearances, to keep up with the Joneses. So sometimes it's not even a dire need. Sometimes it's just, our neighbors got a new car, and as we are still driving our old Toyota, can you please take a loan on behalf of us, on our behalf, in order for us to upgrade our car? I have seen those situations as a financial coach. So yes, there are so many disadvantages that come about with black tax.